Okay, good evening, everyone. I think we're live here now. I got you on my screen, and thank you for coming. It's Monday, September 28th, and we're here for our weekly parent forum. Tonight, if you saw my emails earlier, tonight we're going to focus on the academies in the Shelton district. Many of you are aware of the academies that we're offering here at Shelton High School. I've got a couple of guests with me tonight. One of them is Dina Alley, who's the Director of Academies K-12 in the Shelton School District. And our other guest is Don Wielander, who is our Director of Career and Technical Education Programs in the district, which align with many of our academies. So I invited them on to share some information with our parents regarding the academies. And tonight's focus is going to be on the academies and how we feel we're preparing our students for success in college, career, and life. And so we'd like to keep the questions centered around the academies. And I want to just remind our parents that tomorrow night at 6 p.m. on YouTube, Dr. Apostle will have his open community forum. The community forums are a less formal meeting or gathering than the board meetings are. Parents and community members will have an opportunity to ask their questions of Dr. Apostle and other administrators and guests that he may have with him. And so many of your questions regarding online learning and what the future holds with potentially bringing kids back to campus in the future can be asked and answered at the forum tomorrow night. As always, if you have specific questions regarding K-12, the K-12 platform and the online learning for Shelton High School students, you're most certainly welcome to email me directly. And if I can't answer the question, I will forward it to somebody who can. Typically what I do when I get those emails is I will respond to the person who sent it by letting them know I'm forwarding it to a certain person and you can expect to hear from them. As always, as I've said in the past, if you don't hear from myself or a staff member that you've emailed or called within 24 hours, please let me know so that I can get a response back to you and get your questions answered or your concerns addressed. So at this time, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn it over to Dina Alley at this point, and she's going to share some information with our parents, and Mr. Wielander will be involved in that also.
All right. Thank you very much, Bruce. First thing I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to share my screen. We have a PowerPoint that we'd like to go through with you. And then we think we'll answer most of your questions in that PowerPoint. If we don't, please just type in your question, and Mr. Kipper is monitoring questions for us so that we can come back and pick up those questions. So as Bruce said, I'm Dina Alley. I'm the Director of Academies K-12 for the district, and joining me is Don Wielander, Director of Career and Technical Education for the district. You have probably heard, because you have students at Shelton High School, about the Shelton Academies. And our Academy program is being designed to actually be a K-12 program. So it will be the academies that you're aware of at Shelton High School, and then K-8 programs and supports with activities that match the themes of the academies. So for example, if you've had students in the Shelton School District, they have had experiences with the Pacific Education Institute, PEI, and that was around salmon and around natural resources. So those are themes that connect to our Natural Resources Academy. Or you had students at Bordeaux who participated in Junior Achievement and JA BizTown. That maps to a theme of the Business, Finance, and Hospitality Academy. So when we are fully developed, our K-12 program will have themes and activities for students to really start career awareness and exploration early and find out which activities they have the most affinity for. Once they're at Shelton High School, all of the academies are going to provide your student with multiple opportunities to earn college credit and or industry recognized credentials in each of their academy classes. And these are all related to current, future, local, regional employment demands, but also for student interests. And we have already made adjustments in pathways in our academies based on the needs and interests of students. So I'd like to run through a few frequently asked questions first, because often that puts people's minds at ease, and then they can just enjoy all of the things that we have to offer students. So why did we change to this model? Well, one of the reasons is that we did not feel like we had fully prepared students to have a solid, authentic high school and beyond plan when they were leaving Shelton High School. If you have looked at our course catalog, it's very long. And to just hand that to students and families and say, pick classes, made it very difficult. This is sort of a guiding structure that helps students really hone in on interests or just things that they want to explore. So we chose our academies, again, based on local, regional labor data. We also met with community partners and asked what their needs were. And then we also checked in with students and said, if we had these types of courses, would you be interested? So when I say we've made adjustments based on student interest, one of the examples is our healthcare partners in the Health Science Academy. They really wanted a healthcare business pathway. There's a lot of need in that area, but our students, we tried that program for a couple of years, and our students were just not interested in a specific healthcare business pathway. What they were interested in was a business pathway in general, and then we have shown them how they can cross over and take courses in health science, such as medical terminology, that will also prepare them should their business career be available in the health science area. Can students still take all the other courses that they love? Of course they can. Their academy course is 1 credit out of the 7.5 credits that they have available to them every year. So it in no way inhibits their ability to take all the language courses they want, band, music, art, theater, NJROTC. We want students to fully explore all of the things that they're interested in. That's one of the greatest things about high school. And if their specific career path isn't covered, what we can do is help them in one of 2 ways. One is pick a career path that you have some interest in. And what you will do is you'll earn some college credit, but you'll also earn those industry recognized credentials. And perhaps you could use those to then work in a job while you go through college if you need to do that. So for example, maybe it's directly connected to what you want. In health science, you could get your EMT certification and use that to work through college while you went on to be a nurse or a doctor or a medical researcher. You can also just pursue something that's a real love of yours. Let's say that you just love the arts and you're interested in music and drama, but you know that in college you're going to study something else, but you always want to be involved in the arts. You could take the entertainment production pathway, have a really deep understanding of the arts in all varieties, and then you would have that background for just the love that you're going to keep in your life as you go on. This question doesn't apply to Shelton High School parents, but we do this presentation and people say, well, my child attends Choice, or my child is going to attend the new Cedar High School. And can they still participate in academy classes at Shelton High School? And the answer has always been yes. So unless the principals of the building change that, there has always been a way to be able to share students so that all students in the Shelton School District can take advantage of these. And then you'll see this again. This is my email address and my office number. And we'll talk about ways that you can become involved later. Don, did you have any thoughts about this before we move into the specific academies?
Just that, this is our first year that we're really rolling out the other classes and academies, and what a year it is to roll it out. But it's going along very well, and we look forward to some questions.
Yeah. All right, so we're actually going to run through the academies that we have and talk a little bit about each one. So we have a Health Sciences Academy. It was our first academy, brought to us with help from our partners at Mason Health, what used to be Mason General Hospital and Family of Clinics. And they are an amazing community partner. And you will find out that all of our academies have multiple community partners attached to them. So in the Health Sciences Academy, we have a patient care pathway. We describe that as the students who really want to be hands-on working with patients. We have a sports medicine and fitness pathway, which is pretty self-explanatory. That's actually the pathway that we replaced the business healthcare pathway with. And there's a huge amount of interest from students in pursuing careers in that area. And then the Project Lead the Way pathway, which we describe as our really high-level science pathway. Those are students who know they want to be nurses, doctors, biomedical researchers. They see a lot of schooling in their future, and this is a really hands-on, high-end set of science courses. They can combine some of these courses with some AP courses and get special recognition as well. Our Business, Finance, and Hospitality Academy has pathways in marketing, business, including you'll see there starting your own business, the entertainment production pathway, which includes multimedia communications, hospitality and tourism, and entertainment production, which is what you formerly knew as kind of technical theater. It's an elevated version of that. And then our culinary pathway. In our Natural Resources Academy, we have forestry, horticulture, and aquaculture. And one of the things we want to tell you a little bit about plans in the horticulture pathway, particularly because those of you who live in the Shelton community are used to seeing our greenhouse operations really only being the once a year plant sale. And what we hope to do, what the plan is to expand that to where we have more of a year-round operational vegetable farmers market type horticulture operation. And then aquaculture is something that is new to us. We're working with one of our community college partners, but it certainly fits right in with a lot of our business partners here in the local area. And of course, forestry is a natural fit. Manufacturing, engineering, and technology. This is where you're hearing a lot of information right now. There's a lot of excitement around this. Down the right-hand side, you will see things that we already have. We already have a fantastic construction pathway, a welding pathway, an automotive pathway, which uses an online state-of-the-art program that people in industry use for certifications, and an engineering pathway that includes CAD and electronics, robotics, and engineering courses. Out to the left in red, you see our future planning. We are about to be able to split that engineering pathway into two parts. An engineering pathway, which will allow us to delve further into engineering, and a mechatronics pathway, which will have electronics, robotics, and then an in-depth 2-year look at mechatronics, which we describe as the intersection of mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, and information technology. So how are we going to do that? You may or may not have seen this. This will be the new building that will be in what is currently the Shelton High School staff parking lot. And the staff parking lot will shift to another area. This will be the Manufacturing, Engineering, and Technology Academy specifically for that mechatronics. And this is a site map that shows where that building will be. So the orange piece, that's the piece that you just saw the rendering of. And then you can see to the left and right, there's room and future planning for future expansion of that, with some shared outdoor space that can be shared with the Performing Arts Center and that entertainment production program. Don, would you take a few minutes and talk about what's going to be in the Med Academy?
Yeah, the Med Academy is going to be taught in a station approach. It's going to have separate stations for each area. We're going to have pneumatics, electronics, robotics. We'll have CNC there. We'll have plenty of storage for the materials that we're going to be able to use. We're going to work with PLCs in there. A lot of the things that we are going to have there for the stations are things that our local business industry has been asking for, as far as training our students on, so they can get a head start before they either go off to college or they go into a VOTEC school. And these are regional things. The people that really started this, is it used to be called the Boeing Core Plus program, where Boeing would bring people in and they would supply, or students in, they would supply all of the tools and the equipment. And then it changed to just Core Plus. And now Core Plus incorporates not only the Boeing part of it, which is the machining part of it, but it also includes construction. They're working towards a medical Core Plus. So they are expanding it out. And we are just starting in on this, but it's going to be mainly mechatronics. We'll have robotics. We'll be doing drones in there. iMinds, which is a robotics program that's going to fit well in the Met Academy.
And Don, would you talk a little bit about credentials that will come out of that program, please?
Yeah, we have a lot of different credentials. We are looking, right now we have several different credentials, and what we're looking at is we're going to have a high lift credential. We just had a high lift delivered to the schools districts. So we'll have high lift certifications. We'll have forklift certifications. We're going to look at a flagging certification. Each one of these certifications we want to put into a pathway. So as the student goes through a pathway, they're going to be able to come out with an abundant amount of different types of certifications. We will do the OSHA 10, which is a safety certification, the SP2, which is another safety certification. So when these students leave high school, they won't have to go out and get these certs. They'll already have them and be on their way to success after high school, either through the collegiate route or through the workforce, or even through community college or a trade school.
And I just want to point out that when we talk about an industry recognized credential and/or college credit in each of these classes, these are things paid by the district. So thank you to Don and his program. These are not things that are an additional cost to students. Okay, so we talk in the academies that first and foremost, what we would love to have from parents and the community as a whole is for you to be involved. And here are some ways in which you can do that. You can come be a guest speaker. We are doing that virtually right now in classes. You can serve on an advisory committee. All of our CTE programs and all of our academies have advisory committees so that we can hear from people in the industry what it is that you want and need and what it is that you don't want and need. We had, when we started the Health Science Academy, as school people, we had things that we thought were the greatest idea since sliced bread, and our community partners said, nope, that's not helpful to us. So we are here to learn from our community. One of the ideas that Don and I had this year, so we bought some body cams to do it, is show us part of your day at work. Wear a body cam for a few hours. Talk us through what you're doing. I know some of our teachers have been enjoying doing that. They've been wearing them or setting them up as they do things that are part of their professional experience so that they can show students. Every junior does a job shadow. So if you would like to host a job shadow student at your site, that's like a half-day commitment, a 4-hour commitment. We would be happy to help set you up with a student who might be interested in what you do. And every one of our academies in their senior course will have a capstone experience. That's a more in-depth, either a research project or a larger certification. So for example, an EMT certification that takes more time, or something that they're doing with an employer solving a real world problem. So you could mentor one of those student projects. You could host one of those student projects. And of course, you can donate anything: time, talent, materials, money. We're here to see what it is that you can help us with. And again, we have fantastic community partners that help us do that. On the screen, because right now in COVID, we are working both from home and from the buildings, You also have my cell phone number there, and you have my email address. Many of you in the community know Don, and so if you contact Don and he needs to turn you over to me, you can certainly do that. The same way if you contact me and I'm like, well, that part goes with CTE, I will be happy to share your information with Don. I think in one of the things that we really want people to be aware of is just how closely connected to our community this project really is. Like, this is an opportunity for you to come into the schools and really help our students make a plan for what's next. So a lot of people say, okay, you're building another new building. How are you funding that? The money is already there. So this is money that is owed to us by our non-high districts as part of the bond. It's their legal obligation. And so we can only spend the money because it came from the bond. We want to be clear that we can only spend the money at the high school level and on capital projects. So that's building projects. So that's how the Met facility will be possible. And the total non-high school district contribution is $6.5 million. And right now, the estimate for the new Met Academy facility cost is between $4 and $5 million. So we're not asking the community for additional money. This is, again, money coming to us from our non-high districts that was already part of the bond initiative. So with that, we are happy to spend time just taking questions, sharing ideas, whatever you have. Bruce, what do we have?
One thing I just wanted to add, Dina.
Yes, please.
Is Bruce came up with the tagline, and I really like it. It's our job as educators is to prepare kids for college, career, and success in life after high school. One of the ways that we are doing that also is through dual credit.
Yeah, thank you.
Most of these classes that Dina has talked about are going to provide dual credit through articulations with local colleges. Right now, we have agreements with Olympic College, South Puget Sound, and West Sound Consortium, which is a consortium of numerous colleges in the Bremerton area, as well as Pierce County area. So we have a lot to offer for the students. Right now, for dual credit, Shelton High School in the district, including choice, has a 66.3% amount of students that are taking advantage of dual credit or that have at least earned dual credit in one class, which is right now one of the highest in the state of Washington. And I'm sure with Bruce's leadership at SHS and Stacy down at Choice, we're going to see that improve, especially with Bruce's attitude and his desire to see these kids move on to college and take these classes. So as we can take and offer that right on campus and the students take advantage of the credits that they can accumulate, it's a win-win for not only the school district, but for the students and their families.
Yes, and I appreciate that. And especially, let's remember our friends at Grays Harbor County for our new aquaculture program as well. So again, when we have this fully implemented, every single one of those academy classes that you saw will have college credit and or industry recognized credentials attached to it. And that's in addition to, on the Shelton High School campus, the ability to, take multiple AP courses, to do stamp testing to show language proficiency and earn extra credit and possible advancement at college. So there are lots of opportunities for students to leave high school with college transcripts already started that they can take anywhere, and or industry recognized credentials that they can use in life. Bruce, do we have any questions that we can answer?
Yeah, we have one so far, but I just wanted to follow up on Don's comments with regards to dual enrollment and college credit. One of the things that I was really impressed about when I came here with the academies, and one of the things I asked about, and you can ask Dina, is probably the first thing I asked about, was how does this lead a student to college? And all of our academy programs are geared so that students will be prepared for college. They will meet college entrance requirements if they complete the academy. So it doesn't matter which academy they choose. And the one thing I really like about it is that it also prepares the students. I know that, finances are tight for a lot of our families, but it prepares our students to gain these industry certifications so that they can work and they can earn a decent wage while they're working their way through college. And many times, the employers that hire our students with these credentials will pay for their education a lot of the times, or will help defer the cost of education. So it does benefit our students to go through these programs and earn these industry certifications, even if they are planning to go to college. So I was just really impressed with the amount of effort that's been put into this, and the thought process that's got into it. These weren't just thrown together. There's been a lot of brainstorming and working together and sharing of ideas to come up with the very best programs possible. So Dina, before we answer the question that we have so far, can you explain to the parents how, like, a student enters in 9th grade, they're part of the freshman academy. How does that prepare them to pick an academy going into their sophomore year?
Absolutely, thank you. So when students come into the 9th grade and they're part of the freshman academy, one of the things that they do as part of their registration is to take 2 exploratory courses. And we ask them to take them from 2 different academies, because most students will come in and say, man, I know I'm gonna like this class and I really wanna take it. And that's great. But we also want you to explore at least one other area. And students can certainly take more exploratory classes. The vast majority of those 9th grade exploratory classes are half-credit courses, with the exception of the Project Lead the Way course that's at the 9th grade level. So students can take multiple of those courses, but they must take 2. And then they look at, with the help of their 9th grade advisor in the spring when it comes to registration, that's where those conversations happen with the advisors. And we hope with you as a family that says, what have you really enjoyed so far in school? You seem to have always enjoyed when you were outside working with the PEI field experiences, or you seem to have always enjoyed when you did the extras like robotics club, or you had Mr. Sell's class at OBJH. And then look at the various academies and say, okay, this is the one I want to pursue, either just because it's a lifelong interest or because I really have an interest in pursuing a career somewhere in that area. They will also have the opportunity in the spring of their 9th grade year. We have a little event that's growing every year that we like to call our recruitment day, where the different academies say, this is why you should join us. Like, here's what you will learn. Here's the excitement if you come and be part of this academy. And so that's another opportunity for students to, by then they have met some of the teachers, they get to see what will happen. They get a course catalog, they get an academy vision book that says, here are the courses that are in each academy. They match that up with the course catalog. And then they can say, okay, these are courses I really want to attend and I really want to take. And here's how they fit into that 4-year plan that I'm building in advisory.
Thanks, Dina. So the question that we have so far is, so we know that, students, just like anybody else, they, like you had said, Dina, they come in thinking they want to go into one academy and they find out their interests are really in another area. So a student that's a sophomore that like thought they knew what they wanted to go into and now they have different interests, can they change? How do they change their academy from one year to the next?
Yeah, so they should make an appointment to see their counselor for sure. And this is what we say. It's best if you don't change more than once, but changing once, particularly like if you got into your sophomore year and then realized, is just fine. One of the beauties of the Shelton High School trimester system is that there are extra credit slots there available. And so the only thing that we would say to you is you could end up missing out on one of those opportunities for college credit or one of those industry recognized credentials simply because you ran out of spots to catch up on the courses. But in mapping out that through the trimester system and all of the credits that are available, we mapped out that you could change your academy, and in most cases, you would be able to go back and pick up any course that you missed and still do all the courses in the academy. So take full advantage of the credits and credentials that are offered. So absolutely, we know you might change your mind and you can change your academy. I'd also like to point out that if you have a student with an IEP, we want to work directly with you and with your IEP team to make sure that you have an academy experience that matches your transition planning in your IEP, and the counselors can also help you know how to work through that process as well.
Great, thank you. That was the only question we had so far. So all of the information regarding the academies is available on the Shelton High School webpage and also the district webpage. So if you know of somebody that maybe wasn't able to attend tonight, or you want more information and you want to see the detailed information that Dina presented, that is available. Is it, Dina?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's available on the website. And
yeah, absolutely. And you will see, you can always go back to this presentation to get my contact information. You can always email Bruce and he can get information. He can get you connected with me. If you know Don, anybody on this screen can make a connection to anyone else with whatever you need to talk about. On the Shelton High School webpage, one of the things is there's a very nice electronic copy of what we call our Academy Vision Book, which has in-depth information about each academy. It shows all of the classes that we have talked about here. And that's a very helpful resource that you can use and match up with the course catalog to talk about things that you might be interested in. But I just want to reiterate to parents, one of the things that sometimes parents are worried about is, how does this connect to the rest of the classes? There is room for it all. As we said, it's a 1.0 class out of the 7.5 available each year. And one of the things that we didn't talk about that we should talk about is how we're working to make sure that students who are in academies together start to have some core coursework together so that teachers can teach with the flavor of the academy. So for example, I go to my English class, my English teacher sees that out of 32 students, 28 of us are Health Science Academy students. And so when that English teacher is giving an assignment, he might say, all right, here are some choices, and it will have a little bit of a flavor of the academy. Or they go to their music class, and their music teacher talks about, how are records manufactured? And that appeals to students out of manufacturing, engineering, and technology. Or what is music therapy like, which has a connection to the Health Science Academy. And it's another way for students to see how they can take courses and integrate them into things that they're interested in doing, or just in knowing how things are connected across disciplines. So our departments have been amazing about that. We've had a number of people trained in what's called project-based learning, which is an interdisciplinary way of putting projects together. And the first year that they came back from that, the Health Science Academy team, because again, they're a little bit ahead of everyone else, they came back and they did an interdisciplinary project for the health science student organization, used it as their competition, and they got to go to nationals the very first year. So we are so proud of the teachers at Shelton High School and the students and what they have been doing. And every group I have talked to, they have just been so excited and so willing to do the things that are going to help students in these areas.
thank you, Dina. And Dawn, thank you guys for being here tonight. This is very valuable information. Dina, the presentation that you gave tonight, the PowerPoint, is that on the website also?
We can make sure that it gets on the website. Absolutely.
Okay.
And one nice thing is we are going to be coming out with a YouTube channel and also a Facebook page for the academies and CTE also. So be looking for that.
Okay, great. And this will be really pertinent as we get into the spring and we start registering for next year. So we'll probably revisit this as we move forward in the springtime before registration. And again, I think one of the coolest things about this approach is that we want our parents and our community involved. As Dina stated, there's a role for everybody to play in this. And I think I stated in one of my first parent, probably the first parent forum, is that educating our children is really a 3-spoke wheel. There's the school with our staff, there's our students, and then there's our parents and our community. And all 3 of those spokes have to be working properly for the wheel to roll down the road with minimum resistance and the most efficient path possible. So we do want our parents involved. I know that we're not always going to agree on things, but the one thing we can agree on is we want our parents to be involved in their child's education. And one of the things I've over my 32 years of experience is, as students get older, parents usually become less involved. If you think back to when your child was in kindergarten and that first day taking them to school, they probably wrapped their arms around your legs and wouldn't let you go. And as they grew up and they got into high school and middle school, it suddenly became not very cool to have mom and dad or grandma and grandpa or a guardian involved at school. And so we see less and less of parents actually on campus when we're in school. Like right now, obviously we know what's going on, but under normal times, we see less and less parents as kids get older. We want to reverse that. We want to see you here. We want you involved. And this is one great way to be involved and to share your expertise in what you do with our students. So again, all you'll ever hear from me is we want you involved, and we want you to share with our students and to contribute to their success, so that as they get older and they become the wiser ones in our community, so to speak, our community becomes more effective and more efficient, and it becomes a better community overall. That's what we're really trying to do, is prepare our students to lead our community. So if we don't have any more questions, it'll be an early night tonight. There must be a good football game on. I know the Seahawks are not playing, so you can't use that excuse, because I saw the game yesterday. So we'll have to look forward when the Seahawks are on Monday night if we're going to have one of these or not. I got a feeling I would lose out to the Seahawks. So
yeah, I think we all would.
That's right.
So, anyway, again, I want to thank those parents that took the opportunity to watch tonight. This presentation will be on the YouTube channel, so you can watch it in the future if parents didn't have an opportunity to see it tonight, or community members. So you can share with your friends and neighbors that it is available. I have some really good information that was shared tonight. So if that's all, then I'll let you guys go, and we'll see you down the road. And again, email me if you have any questions or concerns. Dina and Dawn, thank you very much for being here, and I appreciate you joining us.
Thank you, Bruce, for letting us end.
All right, thank you very much, and we'll see everybody later.